Welcome back to Let's Get Cooking. It's your girl Rashida, and today I have something new for the season. I am making an apple cider cake. Yes, apple cider cake. I made this cake for the first time. It was very, very delicious, so I thought I'd share it with you. Of course, the ingredients consist of apple cider, some eggs, flour, regular sugar, brown sugar, baking powder, cinnamon, nutmeg, some apple sauce, and some oil, and a little bit of vanilla. Let's start baking. For this recipe, I'm going to use two medium to large bowls. In this first bowl, I'm going to start off by mixing the dry ingredients, and that's the flour. I'm using 3 cups of flour, 1½ teaspoons of baking powder, 1½ to 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, a half teaspoon of nutmeg. If you want to add a little pinch of clove, you definitely can. Clove or ginger, feel free. I'm also putting in a half a teaspoon of baking soda, 3/4 cup of brown sugar, a half a cup of regular sugar, and a pinch of salt. And that's it for the dry ingredients. I'm going to then mix everything in a bowl until everything is well incorporated. So those are all the ingredients, the dry ingredients for the apple cider cake. And I'm just going to get my good whisk and mix it around for just a couple minutes till everything is mixed well. You want to definitely make sure you break up those sugars and all the spices, the cinnamon and nutmeg and everything is mixed well into the flour. Easy enough. This is a pretty easy recipe. It's a couple extra steps that make it a little longer, but for the most part, it's just a very basic recipe. Then once all the dry ingredients are mixed, I'm going to get another bowl and start to mix my wet ingredients. Okay, here comes the wet ingredients, and I'm going to start off by just cracking my eggs, and it is 3 large eggs. I have medium eggs, so I use 4 because they're quite small, but it's normal. It calls for 3 large eggs. If you have medium eggs like myself, then just go ahead and add that extra egg, and then that'll balance everything out. I want to give these a good whisk. I like to whisk my eggs and mix them well before I add the rest of the ingredients. Just give them a good stir, a good mix. And once my eggs are mixed well, I'm going to add in the cup of oil. And that can be vegetable oil, avocado oil. I wouldn't use olive oil, so you just want something like a vegetable canola or maybe an avocado oil, something that does not have any flavor in it. There's that cup of oil going in, and that's what helps to make this cake very, very moist. Depending on the cake, I prefer oil to butter. Oil makes cakes and cupcakes very moist. Butter, sometimes they can be a little bit dry and crumbly, but it just depends on what type of cake you're making. So to the oil, I'm going to add in the half a cup of unsweetened applesauce. If you have sweetened applesauce or cinnamon applesauce, you can use that too, but it just calls for unsweetened applesauce, but I think either or will be fine. And just going to make sure I add in some applesauce, mix that up, and then we're going to come in with that apple cider, and it is a cup of apple cider. So you want to make sure that you get your apple cider from the store. It is plentiful around this time of the season. You can find apple cider at almost any store. So you want to add a cup of apple cider to the wet ingredients. When I was making this cake, I was thinking of an apple cider donut because I love apple cider donuts come fall time. So I was like, this may taste like an apple cider donut. It doesn't quite taste like apple cider donut, believe it or not, but it is a very, very good cake. And right there, I just added in the vanilla. And you know, vanilla goes a long way. You can put 1 to 2 teaspoons of vanilla. A little extra vanilla never hurts any dessert. And I just want to make sure that these wet ingredients are combined well. And then the next step will be to mix the wet ingredients and the dry ingredients together. So I'm going to go ahead and pour the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients because the dry ingredients are in the bigger bowl. So I'm just going to make a little well in the dry ingredients and push everything to the side and go ahead and pour in the wet ingredients and mix them together well. So there, just adding that in, combining the two so that they can become one. And I'm just going to mix this well for a few minutes, and that is the cake batter. And the oven is preheated to 350 degrees. I should have told you that at the beginning. Always want to preheat your oven before you start baking or before you put anything in it. So for this cake, it's 350 degrees that the oven is on. Take a few minutes to mix, mix, mix. Now that the apple cider cake batter is complete, I like the color of that batter. It's ready to go in the bundt pan. I am using a rather large, about a 10 cup bundt pan, and I'm just going to pour all that batter into the pan. And of course, that is a well greased bundt pan, so I just use some baking spray. But you can definitely use the old school method of just applying some butter and some flour to coat the pan and then add in that cake batter. I'm going to bake this cake between 40 and 45 minutes. And when I take it out, I'm just going to use a little knife or something just to make sure it's done in the middle. And then I'll let it cool for a few minutes before I take it out the pan. So now the cake is ready to go in the oven. It's going to bake 40 to 45 minutes. There it goes. And ta-ta-ta, here it comes. After 45 minutes, took the cake out. I like the way that nice rise that it has. I'm putting in my sharp knife. As you see, it's coming out completely dry. That means the cake is finished. Letting it cool for just about 10 or 15 minutes. And then I'm going to invert that onto my baking rack. Now it's time to focus on the outside of the cake and what we're going to put on this cake to coat it. I have over here, it's going to be a cinnamon sugar mixture. That's a 1/3 cup of regular white sugar, 3/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. Then in another small bowl, I'm adding in 4 tablespoons of melted butter. To that, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of apple cider. Now you have to watch as I coat the cake. What I'm going to do once I take the cake out the pan is I'm going to apply that butter mixture liberally all over the cake first. So that butter and apple cider, you'll see that I'm going to brush that all on top of the cake. And then I'm going to mix the cinnamon sugar together and apply that around the cake also. So this is, instead of like a heavy icing or anything like that, we're going to coat it with these ingredients and then we're going to add the glaze. So these are those extra little bit of steps that I said that go into making this a delicious apple cider cake, but it doesn't take long at all. I have my butter mixture, I have my cinnamon sugar mixture, and just please go ahead and watch the video as I apply these to the cake. Okay, the butter is on. The cinnamon sugar is on. We could stop right here and just cut into the cake and keep going and start eating. But one more step, and this is going to be a light glaze, and it's just an apple cider glaze, and it's very basic. So I'm using a cup of powdered sugar, 3 to 4 tablespoons of apple cider. You know, glazes are very simple. Mix those together, and I'm going to drizzle that all over the cake. Look at all the layers that this apple cider cake has of goodness, and everything has a little bit of apple cider in it, so you can't go wrong. Apple cider is apple, like apple juice, concentrated apples with spices in them, with cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger. So that's what makes apple cider so great this time of year. So there goes my glaze. That was made in about 30 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and drizzle this glaze all over this cake. It'll take me a few minutes, and once the glaze is on the cake, it is complete. You, we have made an apple cider cake. My first time making it. I will definitely make it again. It was enjoyed by the family. You can take this to family gatherings. This is great for breakfast, great for lunch, great for dinner, great for snacks. Cut a slice, add it with a little bit of coffee, a little bit of tea, a little bit of milk. However you want to eat it, it's just a great little bundt cake to add to the fall season, fall and winter season. And there I am, just drizzling that glaze, and I want to make sure to use all of the glaze. So no skimping, using all the ingredients. And this is a cake I definitely will make again. I do want to say that I did find the recipe online, and I just tweaked it a little bit, but basically went by the recipe that was online. So definitely want to give credit to, I believe it's Butternut Bakery, on this cake. I saw it and had to make it. And there it is. Apple cider bundt cake is complete. Y'all, that looks delicious. I mean, it is gone in my house, but I'm just like, I want to make it again. It was really easy. Your family will love you for it. Your friends will love you for it. Take it to your next holiday party, your next gathering. It's worth making. Thanks for coming in the kitchen. Thanks for cooking with me. Until the next time, have a blessed day and a blessed week. I'll see you in the next video. Oh, remember to subscribe, like, and share. Especially subscribe. Thank you all for watching.